Hi, and welcome back to Home Buying Made Simple. I'm Lisa Williams with Williams Associates Realty, and today I'm meeting with a mortgage loan officer at Summit Credit Union. So can you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about Summit?
Yeah, so I'm Cody Krznarich. I work at Summit Credit Union, and we are currently the largest credit union in Wisconsin with over 50 branches. And the credit unions are not-for-profit cooperatives. So typically, when you have a membership with us, you save money on accounts or loan rates or closing costs on mortgages. So Summit, we're a full-service credit union. We offer checking, savings, all different types of deposits, as well as other services such as financial advisors and mortgages.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, because sometimes people view credit unions differently than big savings and loans. So can you tell me why there's a difference there?
Yeah, so I always try to educate our members on this, so it's a really good question. So credit unions, like I mentioned earlier, are not-for-profit cooperatives is kind of the best way I describe it.
Okay.
So typically, all of essentially the profit that we get back goes back to our membership in the form of lower fees, lower rates on loans. And then banks, although it's not a bad thing, they're a for-profit financial. So banks typically have CEOs, board of directors that maybe get a portion of the profits. So it's a little structurally different at a credit union where you can just save money by having a membership here.
Okay, great. And why is now a good time to buy?
So I always like to focus on every individual financial scenario. So it might not depend on what's going on in the market, but more so what's in your financial situation.
Okay.
And if you specifically or you and your family are ready to buy a home. So when you work with me at Summit, we're going to look at your full financial picture and figure out what price range might work for you, what type of home might work for you, and go from there.
Okay. And does Summit offer any specialized first-time home buyer programs?
We do. We typically have some ongoing promotions going on. So depending on your scenario, we could have some savings on closing costs or some other costs, as well as partnering with some other organizations for first-time home buyer programs.
Okay. And for someone who feels they don't have enough with regards to savings or other options that may be available to them, how would you help them to get started?
Yes, that's sometimes a big obstacle in our minds, and even my own before I started home buying is maybe I don't have enough saved. So that is where I always say, if you're thinking about buying a home, just chat with me. There are so many different programs or loan types out there where you might need less than what you think, or there might be some assistance that can help you with down payment or closing costs to make sure you're prepared to buy a house.
Okay. So how important is credit when you're thinking about purchasing a home, and how can Summit help with that?
Credit is very important. You want to make sure yourself that you're financially ready to buy a home. And some things you can watch out for, in addition to maybe that kind of savings that we were chatting about earlier, is not changing your financial picture when you're trying to buy a house. So again, if you're thinking about it, try and keep your financial picture the same or better, and then come to me and we can kind of review your credit. So that's how we can help, is take a look at your credit, see what's going on. We have some other resources at Summit where we can do financial reviews if maybe you're not quite ready, but we can get a plan on how to get there.
Okay. Now, I know that some institutions may only pull one credit report. So do you do all three or just the one?
Yep, we pull all three. So that's pretty important to make sure in the pre-approval process that we pull credit and we pull all three. And that's just to make sure that when you find a home that it's going to work, right? You want to get everything kind of sorted out at the pre-approval process, get that credit pulled done, so you feel confident when you're making offers on homes.
Right, and then there's no surprises.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and what other costs would the buyer have? Because sometimes, we'll let them know that this is what you need, but there's other expenses that you would have.
Mhm.
Like when they meet with you, is there a what is it called, like a process or an application fee or something like that? Processing fee or application fee?
Good question. So there's no fee to necessarily like apply,
Okay.
right? So I always say like I keep saying, if you're thinking about it, apply. It's good to get pre-approved.
Okay.
When you find a home and things get pretty serious, there are some closing costs at the end of the process at closing, and there typically is a fee to get that loan process started.
Okay.
That is an overall part of your closing costs, and it's something that we kind of go over before you decide to proceed with the loan to make sure you're fully informed.
And not try to use a lot of terminology, banking terminology, but like an upfront cost. So you would need for your processing fee once you have an accepted offer, and then like the earnest money, and for your home inspection and for homeowners insurance. So, or paid out of closing. Those are costs or fees that a person would usually have on a typical loan, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and what's nice at Summit is when we get you pre-approved, we have a worksheet that'll kind of show you line by line, all the costs that may be involved, so you're fully prepared before you make offers on homes.
Okay.
And that includes some of the ones that you mentioned, like homeowners insurance. We do our best to kind of estimate at how much that might cost in the process. The origination fees, kind of what you're referring to, again, so that way everyone is informed before they're making offers.
So once they meet with you, what does that support look like when they come in and they, are thinking of getting pre-approved because they want to purchase a home, but they're also looking for that support? What does that look like?
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about Summit here is we have people who are local, so you can come in and see me, you can call me on my cell phone, you can email me directly. That's, I would say, the most important piece is you have someone who you can specifically work with. So in addition to that, I believe support is a lot of education and a lot of, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions to kind of gauge where you're at as well and how I can support you. So sometimes it's that simple asking my members, okay, we went through a lot of information, how can I support you, or what does that look like? So having a contact, education, and then it might just be kind of gauging what support looks like for each person.
Okay. And what would you consider to be the biggest mistake that first-time home buyers might make?
I would say waiting.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say either waiting or changing your credit or getting new credit. So the first thing I've been saying, if you're thinking about it, chat with me. You don't want to start looking at a home when it's too late or if you're not pre-approved. And the second thing would be, changing your finances. If you're taking out new credit or getting a new car in the home buying process, that could hold up your
right, that could jeopardize
goal.
the whole thing. Okay, so if you could give one piece of advice to a future homeowner, what would that be?
Start as early as possible. Monitor your credit, and if you can, do your best to save. So just even if it's a 5-minute conversation with a mortgage loan officer like myself, it's good to kind of start early and get that education up front.
Okay. And speaking of that, you all provide some form of like a home buying seminar or a class or something like that?
Yeah, so we have first-time homebuyer seminars that are typically webinars available on our website. Those are continuous and ongoing, so you can always sign up for one. We can also just partner on individual education for anyone who wants that, or just kind of getting out in the community and holding some seminars as well.
Okay, great. Well, Cody, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience with regards to Summit?
I always say you're going to win with a credit union. We're made to help our members save money, and I'm here if anyone needs to chat, even if it's just a 2-minute conversation.
Okay, great. And if they would like to get in contact with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yes, so I have a cell phone you can directly call me at, 262-263-9709, or you can find me on our website. It has my email as well on there.
Okay. And is that Summit CU?
SummitCreditUnion.com. Yep.
SummitCreditUnion.com.
Yep.
So, Cody, thank you so much for sharing this information with me. And if you would like to get in contact with Summit, again, it's SummitCreditUnion.com. And I'm Lisa Williams, and this is Home Buying Made Simple.